Winston City Council, March 2nd, 2026, 7 p.m.
And to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call. A roll call. Councilor Wiggins is excused. Councilor Hobson here. Councilor White.
Councilor White's here.
And the mayor is excused absence only, so being as president of the council, it is my duty to stand in. Okay. And I can put my glasses on so I can see what I'm doing. And are there any adjustments to the agenda?
None, Your Honor.
None? Okay. Consent agenda, approval of the council minutes from January 5th, 26th, January 20th, and February 17th. Do I have a motion?
I move to approve those council minutes. I second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Comments from the audience. Anyone wishing to discuss items not covered on this agenda is welcome to address the city council as a whole. Please state your name and address for the record. Each speaker will be given a maximum of 3 minutes. Speakers may not defame, intimidate, or use profanity or personal affronts. The council reserves the right to delay action until they have full information on the issue. And just a little side note on this, if you anybody decides to speak, you must come up to the podium, state your name and your address. Is there anyone that would like to speak to the council? If not, we shall move on to boards, reports, commissions, and committees. Douglas High School, you're up.
Thank you. Okay. So for sports, our wrestlers went to state. They left on Wednesday after school. They wrestled Thursday and Friday. This was in Portland at the Veterans Memorial Coliseum. Okay. Our wrestlers placed 2, except for 1. Ryder Sawyer, he took 2nd. Payne Wafer took 5th. Jaden Burkhardt took 6th. Camden Quimby took 6th. Zoe Young took 5th. And Uriah Young, he was the one that didn't place, but he participated. He wrestled on Thursday. Our boys basketball started the state playoffs on Friday. I'm not exactly sure how the game went, but I know that they started it. Our spring sports are also starting up this month too, like golf, softball, basketball, and baseball and track. Golf had their first practice today. I heard that went well. For FFA, last week was our National FFA week. We had dress-up days, a scavenger hunt, a community service activity. I'm unsure what the community service activity was, but I heard that it went well. We had SAE posts on social media, and SAE is a supervised agricultural experience. One of them could be like a market steer, like the animals the kids raise for fair. That could be an example as an SAE. So posted those online. We had a teacher/advisor appreciation day, so we made them like a little goodie bag and a cute little note. We handed them around to all the teachers and the staff and everything. On that Thursday, we had our degree ceremony incorporated into our monthly meeting. We also have state FFA degree recipients who are Lily Bennett, Morgan Weirix, Helen Cotton, Sierra Seal, Casper Miranda, Haley Crozier, and Emily Proctor. They all worked really hard. It's all this computer stuff that took weeks and weeks to get done. I dropped out because I didn't want to do it. So, I'm guilty, but it's okay. We have some activities. We have a band concert tomorrow at 6. I'm not sure where it was. It never told me. It might be at the school. It might be somewhere else. We have a choir concert at 6 on the 10th of this month. So that's coming up. We have a plant sale coming up too. They don't know the date yet, but I remember telling you guys about this last year. I'm not sure how many of you guys went, but we have that coming up. And lastly, we have prom coming up on May 2nd, and the theme is Vegas. So I'm really excited about that. So that's all I have, though.
Thank you very much for your report. Much appreciated. Winston Area Chamber comments. It's good to see you again.
Hi. I'm Megan, not Teresa Cooking-Cotton. I'm Megan Larson,
Well,
the Executive Director. Oh, thank you. So we had our first business spotlight at the VFW here and a chamber member luncheon on Thursday, and it turned out really good. We had a pretty good attendance. We're working on a member drive, hopefully in April. We're going to start having bi-monthly member meetings. also hosting the free community Christmas for Kids this year, and our vision for that is to get the businesses involved and kind of set it up like a Christmas village. So, and then we're also looking ahead to 2027, this spring, to plan the Citizen of the Year banquet. So that's all we have going on right now.
Thank you very
Yeah,
much.
thanks.
Department reports. Andy Howell, Superintendent of Public Works.
Good evening, everybody. The weather tonight was pretty nice today. It was actually get out, have some sun out. It was kind of nice. Hopefully everybody got out and kind of enjoy a little bit of the weather as the season starts changing a little bit. Just a couple updates for council. Of course, we have the Bi-Mart section is opened up. That line's been bursted. The continuation of that will be another 550 feet. On the we'll end up coming all the way down by the VFW. We have sanitary sewer is on the north side, and then it crosses back over the south side of Douglas. So we're going to have to do a road cut there to cut that. It's about 50 feet long. So we'll have to do a road cut. ODOT's got all the permits and everything for that, so we're good there. We have 3 laterals that will be replacing, total 3 laterals on that section. The other bit of news, of course, they started that today, and they'll be kind of continuing on with it. The other one is the weather permitting for the I-5 paving project. That'll be supposedly starting possibly this month. Is their plan is to come in here and start the paving and come through Winston and tie back in. So that'll be hopefully sometime in March, weather permitting, like I said. The other one is we met with Phil Morton from the Community Unity, and we kind of talked about the garden. It's a 50 by 100 foot area. They're looking at doing it at the community park area. It's about 160 feet east of the community center. So we talked about that a little bit. We also talked about if they were just dead set on that area, whether or not they would be like to maybe look at down here at the Civic Park or the Pocket Park, excuse me. That's a little area off Cary Street. So they were going to look at that. Phil was going to look at that and kind of see if that was an idea that would maybe work for them. It's a little bit smaller. It's kind of an area. The nice thing about that area, if it worked for them, is we have monies that the city puts into it for cleaning, the weeding, garbage pickup and maintenance, things like that. So it kind of win-win. Whether or not it worked for them, we don't know. We just wanted to make sure they're good on their areas that they're looking at in the city. We also gave them a park project worksheet, a little more information for council and the park board as they go forward and kind of put their program together, what they're looking at doing. So that was just a couple items for the council.
Andy, could you explain to the audience why we had to go the extra 500 and odd feet concerning the sewer line?
Yeah, we got in and looked at that line. It was a continuation. It was very bad. It was particularly with the paving project coming here. We were concerned with just the equipment beating around on there, the paving and the digging and things that are going on. That line was going to collapse on us. So it brought a lot of red flags up. So we elected to address that now prior to the paving. The pipe is so bad that originally we have the existing manholes we're leaving and we're bursting that line in, and we wanted to leave a stub out and connect back to the existing pipe. But the pipe was so bad down here that we couldn't connect back to it. It just shattered on them. So we had to go back into the manhole with a new collar set up back into the manhole. But the piping all the way through there, we're trying to get everything out of the roadway out.
And the additional cost is approximately how much?
Around 250 range.
The reason I ask this question is that our sewer system in certain parts of the city is in critical condition. And just that small part costs that much money. If I remember correctly, we're talking approximately $25 million for a major overhaul of our entire sewer system. Is that correct?
Just what we know, 29 million and change.
Okay, 29 million change. That little bit on base on that, we're talking over $500,000. Okay, that is the problem that we're having with the sewer system, and that is why that we have to look very carefully on how we can approach this and get this fixed before people have the sewers backing up in their house. We don't want that. Okay, and so that's why we're doing everything that we possibly can to get increase on grants and everything to help update the sewer system. And that's how critical that it is. And that's the reason that I brought that up, and I appreciate that.
So
Andy, on that road cutting across to the VFW, is that gonna require a detour in here?
No, they should be able to just do a section because they'll keep traffic moving. They'll play to do it and then work across with blades. So.
And you talk about that pocket part, they have irrigation there.
There's no irrigation there now. And that was one thing we talked about with Phil about because we asked him, like water, what's your plan for water? And they had mentioned possibly a water meter from the district. And I'm like, I can tell you now that's going to be very expensive. And we just put, about 2 years ago, we just did a bunch of irrigation up there. So we added a whole new irrigation system through there. We just talking about, these would have to be rerouted and whatnot, just so he's aware of what they're looking at. And then, of course, with deer like to eat, gardens, so you have to put a fence around it. So you're going to have a fence tall enough. And then that area there is pretty sloped. It's got the high, kind of dips off pretty steep there. So you trigger ADA and different things, as long as everybody's aware of what this thing looks like is all. So we're just trying to get as much information for council. So.
Community Development Administration.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the council. Good evening, members of the audience. So real quick, speaking on the topic of grants, I just wanted to give out kudos where those are due. Sometime back last year, we were dealing with just kind of the outfall, the flood that happened on March 18th. And there were a lot of things that the city tried to do and was doing in order to be proactive. One of the things that the county did was declared an emergency, and the city passed a resolution in concert with that, which was necessary. The reason for that is we have a natural hazard mitigation plan. The plan allows us to declare an emergency, and that makes us eligible for FEMA recovery funding, and that's what we did. We applied. The state applied with FEMA. Both the private and the public sectors, there was an application put in. The private side, meaning that if you have private damage related to the flood, was denied, but the public side was approved. Right. So what we did was we had FEMA reps come down. We made an application, and we found out today one of our applications for the Looking Glass Creek pump station that was completely underwater, inundated in a significant regard. We had to do lots of bypass pumping there. We had to go clear up to Portland and pick up equipment, bypass pumping equipment. Just lots of really costly things that we didn't anticipate, weren't in the budget. We found out today that FEMA is going to award us recovery funding in the amount of $345,000.
Nice.
That would be $345,476, and that is for a number of different things to offer more protections, but also more security blankets for the city. Purchase our own bypass pumping system for there in case this happens again. Purchase a standby gen set. Just a number of different things that are will put us in a better position of success. So just wanted to share that. That was all on account of the efforts and the good work from our Public Works Department.
So Thomas, but we're leaving the pump where it's at right now.
Yeah,
No chance of being able to move it anyplace else out of the way of another flood.
We looked at everything. I'll let Andy speak on this. He's the expert, but we're really locationally challenged there. The question then becomes where you move it to, and how do you make that work. So that's one of the things. That's what we would prefer to do. We'd prefer to just pick it up and relocate it. But we're talking about a duplex, a couple of 10 horsepower pumps that are in there. Correct me if I'm wrong, Andy. It's a station that doesn't do it all around. It's just as a matter of fact, in the city we joke, we call it the doghouse down there, right? So it's very, very subpar. But given the cost and everything, we went for everything we could on this just to secure as much as we could, and kind of came out at least with some element of additional protections.
Definitely improvement. Is that it? Thank you. Another way of having a whole business, new business, we have one new business license and a clutter crew. Chief, everything is okay with that?
I believe I signed that one, yes.
Yes, very good. Do I have a motion to accept this as a business license?
I make the motion we accept the business license for they call it the clutter crew.
I second.
All in favor? Very good. Moving on to resolution 26-1216, ITA Douglas County Communications. Read this by title only. Mrs. Sardi.
Thank
Thank you, Mr. President. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Resolution number 26-1216. A resolution of the City of Winston, Oregon City Council authorizing the city manager to enter into an agreement with Douglas County, a political subdivision of the state of Oregon, to provide communication services on a 24-hour basis for dispatching law enforcement.
And, excuse me, staff report, chief.
Mr. President, that's weird to say, and council members and audience. Resolution 26-1216 is a contract that we do every year. We used to do 3-year contracts, but the county decided to do 1-year contracts, and that's to benefit them for pay, I'm sure. It's going up 3% across the board, so 3% for our dispatch fees and 3% for our radio maintenance. The radio maintenance component of this, we're doing a, what is it, $13 million upgrade?
17 to the county.
Total. Douglas County is doing a $17 million upgrade on the system right now, which I've voiced my opinion at several different meetings, even with the commissioners involved, in the fact that why are my citizens of Winston paying for 13 towers in Douglas County? We should be paying for only our tower that we use, right? Well, so happens the location of Winston is very unique, and we use 2 towers. We use the tower up on top of the canyon up there by down in Merle Creek, and then we use Rose in Roseburg. So that's where our portables work, right? That being said, when they do this upgrade, I'm hoping that we can reevaluate that cost, because we spend about $13,000 for radio maintenance that we have no say in how those towers are maintained or where they're using those dollars. And I don't want to be funding an IT department. That's in my opinion. So the overall increase for the dispatch fees is going from $103,287 to $106,385.57. This includes the radio usage fee of $7,474.15. So staff recommends that we approved resolution 26-1216 to let the city manager enter into the agreement with Douglas County Communications to allow the police department to continue to use the 911 system. And it will be budgeted, obviously, in next year's budget.
Thank you. Any comments from the audience? I see none. I call for a vote on council action. Do I have a motion to accept? Second. Is there a second?
There's a question coming. Bring
Yes,
it.
there is. Brandon, I see so many of our cars going that way. And yes, now I'm seeing more from the county. I saw one on my street not too long ago, both the county and the city. But it just seems that we, even though we run back and forth, we get no compensation for that at
No,
all.
we'd be on a losing proposition if we tried to. I will never, as your police chief, involve politics or pay on the line staff. And I would never do that. I would argue against it to the max. We depend on the sheriff's office and the state police to help us, probably more than we help them. You see our cars going over there in green, they go there to back their deputy, unless we're doing a follow-up case. We're not out there doing patrol, unless they were asking us to do something. The areas that you'll see my officers at, outside the city, will be the Looking Glass area, the Looking Glass School District. At the school, they'll do traffic enforcement on both those roads there, Looking Glass and Coos Bay Wagon Road in the school zone. Other than that, that's the only area that we would do traffic enforcement. But yeah, it's a totally losing proposition to try to do payment or fees back and forth. They're the bigger dog, they're going to end up winning. And I would be 100% against it, just so you know. Sorry.
So do we have a second?
Yes, I guess, reluctantly.
All right. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you.
Resolution 26-1217, Economic Opportunity Analysis Grant Agreement. That's a mouthful. Read by title only, Mrs. Sardi.
Thank you. Resolution number 26-1217, a resolution of the City of Winston, Oregon City Council authorizing the city manager to enter into an agreement with the Oregon Department of Land Conservation and Development for a technical assistance grant to complete an economic opportunities analysis.
Excuse me, staff report, Mr. McIntosh.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the council. Good evening again, members of the audience. The nature of this grant is to get a good hold on our commercial and industrial situation, particularly in our downtown business district. And I'm sure some of these folks would agree, we have to get every bit of data that we can. What's lacking? What do we really need? What is the circumstances there? What is vacant or partially vacant? It is a very comprehensive analysis. Now, this study is required to be in our comp plan, or it's required to be new within 10 years. The last one we did was 1992, so we're outside of the statute. So there's that. But beyond that, it's necessary for us to understand what the needs are so that when commercial developers come to the city, they want to broker a conversation, we can offer them empirical data to say, these are the needs, this is where the vacuum's taking place. So staff applied for this last year in the tune of $52,000. We were denied because we had just gotten approved by the same state office to get a housing needs analysis to understand data on the residential side. So this year we applied again, and they threw up their arms, stopped bothering us, and gave it to us in the tune of $55,000. So the agreement that you see associated is a standard agreement. We're going to have to be the caretakers of the bidding process. Last time they did it, they handled all the financial elements. The State Department that handles these, which is DLCD, that stands for the Department of Land Conservation Development, they have a lack of staff now compared to last year. So they don't have the ability to be the caretakers. So we are going to essentially have to bid it out, and we're going to have to work directly with our own contracting group or consulting group that we choose. But it is $55,000 we didn't have before, and it is going to lay a very robust foundation for upgrading, let's say, the URA district or implementing Main Street programmatic approaches. It's going to run in concert with a lot of good commercial aspects. So I'm really excited about it.
So are you saying that with pertaining to the URA that maybe the end result would be to expand the parameters of the URA in the way of distance within the city?
At some point, so it sunsets after 20 years, 2026. And by sunset, I mean you can keep it going past that, but it's only a 20-year window on what they look at. And we want to do that because it's a $40,000 URA project. But if we have this study in place, we will have some of the nuts and bolts on how we can recraft that URA whenever the council or the URA feels inclined to move forward with that. I think right now we're okay for another couple, 2 or 3 fiscal cycles with our URA program the way that it is, but we're really going to lay a good foundation. Recommend approval of the resolution.
Is that $55,000 going to cover the whole city?
Yes, it very much should. I think that we'll probably come under budget on that.
Any comments from the audience? If not, I call for a vote. Do we have a, excuse me, do we have a,
I move that we accept resolution 26-1217.
I'll second it.
all in favor, say aye. Passed. Next one is resolution 26-1218. Notice of award for the Siphon project. Read by title only, Mrs. Sardi.
Resolution number 26-1218, a resolution of the City of Winston, Oregon City Council authorizing the city manager to enter into an agreement with Black Pearl Paving and Excavation for construction and completion of the inverted sanitary sewer siphon project for an amount not to exceed $3,212,178.
Staff report, Mr. Howell.
Good evening again. So we had bid opening was January 29th, 2 p.m. at City Hall. We had 2 bids were received for the siphon project. Emery and Sons was $3,281,661. Black Pearl Paving Excavation was $2,793,199. Engineer's estimate was $2,154,871. Engineer recommendation is to award the project to Black Pearl Paving and Excavation for the $2,793,199. Staff does recommend a 15% contingency of $418,979 for a total of $3,212,178. And this is a DEQ funded project.
In other words, the DEQ is paying for it. Is that correct?
Or half, Your Honor. Yes, and very briefly, just to add to that, Your Honor, if I could, I would challenge anybody to look back in the history of Winston and find a sewer project that we spent $3.2 million on. This really is a landmark resolution in that regard. It is a significant project that we've turned a lot of country on. We spent years trying to get to this point. We've got everything in place, and this is really the last measure that we have to go through in order to get boots out there on the ground. So really proud of our team and the city for the good decision making on that. I'll get off my soapbox, Mr. President. Sorry.
The bottom line is simply this: what you're hearing this evening is the amount of money that Winston has saved our citizens. $55,000 for one, and $1 million and something for the second. And that's where the taxpayers don't have to pay. Right. Any comment from the audience? If not, I call for a vote.
I've got a question. Andy, is there, our engineer's estimate was $2,154,000 and the low bid was $2,793,000. Was the engineer that far off?
It's, these things are, Alan, they're just kind of up and down. It just kind of depends we were thinking we were going to get more bids, actually. We were hoping to at least 3 or 4 maybe, and then the other 2 of them kind of backed out towards the end, so kind of hard to...
It's kind of a touch and go project.
It is, and it's a specialized, so it's just, you have to be, that boring's a whole other animal there.
I'm sure there's a lot of people that back away from it.
Yeah.
Would you mind just explaining it again to the audience what this project actually is and how important it is?
I guess my first question is everybody or is anybody aware of the siphon project? Some of you have been tagging along with us over the years. It's been quite the ordeal, as the city manager was talking about. We and he could elaborate better on this than myself, but there's a lot of hoops. I'll just say that the government agencies, federal, state, everything else was, we got to the point that we're talking about fish. I'm just going to kind of brush things about noise for fish, in the river. We talked about, and don't get me wrong, it's all important. So but it's just part of the stuff we had to go through. We had to identify animals that may be out in that field. We had to identify any type of plants, noise things, all kinds of different things we went through, and then a whole gamut of cost, because everything is cost. And it felt like this, with their both hands out, sometimes with their whatever, just like this. They're trying to turn around, you're paying somebody. So anyway, there's my little thing on that, paying things that are, I understand government stuff. Anyway, so the siphon, we have the existing siphon was an open trench when it was put in years ago. That system has outlived its useful life. It basically takes all the sanitary sewer from the city of Winston and delivers it underneath the river on a siphon project to the treatment plant. So it just works, comes back, treatment plant, and they process it. I originally what's it been, 5-6 years ago, we looked at that to see if we could actually rehabilitate that old siphon. As we got in there, we realized the manhole was so bad that it was flaking off. This there now. We came to the conclusion that if just the trying to figure out this thing's any good is more dangerous than, because what do we do if we mess it up? Because everybody that sues, what do you do? It's got to go in there. What do you do with that? So anyway, that's through the process. We landed on the new siphon. So the new siphon will come down Barnes Hellwig area, right this side of the Green Bridge. It'll run down there. It'll be a new manhole, a new 30-inch line, appropriately sized for the next however many years and years and years. It'll come down with a new structure. It'll have a new inlet structure down in that open big field. It'll come across. We'll have 3 new pipes go across. It'll be bored in, come back up to the treatment plant. We'll have a flow meter. There'll be telemetry things there, so the treatment plant will be able to monitor flow coming into the plant. We'll be able to communicate with this thing. So it's very exciting for us. Like I say, it is the biggest project that we've undertaken at this point. And once again, every bit of the sewage for the city of Winston goes there. So it's a critical piece of infrastructure that has been on the list for a number of years. and we've actually completed in 2016 is our old master plan. We've got a new one now. That was the number 3, I believe, on that list, or 2 that we hit. Snow pump station was the first one. We knocked out snow pump station. The step systems are on there. They're coming up, and the siphon. So we're pretty proud about that. That took a lot of time, a lot of team effort. Council was very supported through all this. It was so anyway. It's just that's kind of the long-winded. Sorry about the long-winded thing, but I just wanted to share a little bit of backdrop to the siphon and how important it is. And how big it is. And I know that the police department will be taking drone footage. They'll be flying this thing. We'll probably have some overheads and things. It'll be a really neat project. The community can come in, watch this thing, see how the size of it when you're actually get to visualize how big it is and what that for us. It's a big deal. So anyway, hope that answered some of your questions. Maybe not. Hope so.
The one thing though on the noise abatement that you mentioned. Is that included in the earplugs for the fish?
Yeah, we were going to get creative on that one, Dave. Well,
Okay, next item of business is upcoming agenda item.
you have a question?
I did have one question.
Sorry about that.
Oh, that's right. I'm
Sorry, Mr. President. So I've heard you talk about a couple of projects tonight regarding waste. Is any of that plugging away at the $20 million that you need overall? Like
They are. It's like
that'd be a deduction off the $20 million.
Well, like this FEMA thing is huge because we have there's no generator out there. There's no bypass pumping out there. It went underwater. It's not good to have your.
Sure.
So we have that's been part of the thing. So we're chipping away at it.
Yeah.
But it's so large, right? It's like trying to eat an elephant.
Right.
So we're like here, these things pop up down here,
Yeah.
and then
So-
but then they pop over here. So we're trying to get it, but we have our master plan put together now. We're working on. We have our items we're looking at. Our pump stations we got to get are critical. Parkways our next big one for the next summer. That's a critical, our second largest station. To get the sewage over and out of here, and then we decided as a team to attack the harder projects. This
Sure.
kind of oxymoron, but we didn't want the easy ones. We want the hard ones now, and these are the toughest ones we're dealing with now. And then the other ones like Gregory, Carter, Thompson, these other ones they're just here. Boom, boom them out.
Yeah.
So that's your question. Yes,
Thank you.
we're picking away at it.
Very good. I'm calling for a vote.
I move that we pass resolution 6-118.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Upcoming agenda items, the Red Barn Dispensary business license is on the agenda for next council meeting. Is there any non-agenda items from council? For the point of order, the check copies and the claims of excess of $500. For the announcements, March 6th at 4:30 is the K-9 Nike retirement ceremony, community center. March 7th, 10 o'clock to noon, coffee with Christy Newton, that is the mayor. March 8th, daylight saving time begins, brings ahead for those clocks, 1 hour. March 10th at 4, park board in City Hall. And March 11th is the Friends of the Winston Library at the library. March 11th at noon, Economic Development in City Hall. March 11th at 5:30 is the Planning Commission City Hall. March 16th at 7 is Council City meeting again. Is there executive session?
None, Your Honor.
I call for adjournment.
Meeting adjourned, 7:34.
They didn't.